Hi, I'm Pat Kiernan. Glad you could be with us for today's edition of Pat's Papers. We go through the nation's newspapers to bring you the highlights. Here's our top story today. Most papers, especially the Chicago and Washington papers, put the Illinois Senate appointment story back on the front page today, as it is in the Washington Post. This after Governor Rod Blagojevich, federal corruption charges or not, went ahead and announced his Senate appointment to fill the seat left by Barack Obama. Former Illinois Attorney General Roland Buras is the governor's choice. The front page of the Chicago Tribune asked whether that appointment will actually stick. Democratic U.S. senators had said they wouldn't allow a pick by Blagojevich to stand, but it's not clear whether those senators actually have the power to follow through on that. The New York Times also leading with the story. The headline there says, "Defiant Governor Names Pick." There's a Man in the News feature that describes Buras as steady, deliberate, and boring in a state known for political drama. The Washington Post updates the situation in Gaza on its front page. The Post says Israel continued to send warplanes over Gaza today, rejecting U.S., UN, and other international pressure for an immediate ceasefire against Palestinian militants. The Detroit News with a local take on this story from nearby Dearborn. More than 1,000 metro area Arabs and peace activists formed a human chain on Tuesday calling for a ceasefire. At the same time, local Jewish leaders voiced their support for Israel's action. This is the day of the leap second. The Sarasota Herald-Tribune picks up a story from the New York Times which says the count to 2009 is going to go something like this. 3, 2, 1. 1 again. Happy New Year. The Earth's rotation isn't quite as fast as it used to be, so from time to time, scientists give us an extra second to keep the seasons on track. One UN group dedicated to telecommunication systems says that practice should be eliminated because it's too hard to update all the world's clocks at once. The International Telecommunications Union would rather we waited about 100 years and then added a leap minute instead of making a change every time we fall behind by just a second. There's a front-page snapshot in USA Today breaking down the pay gap in the auto industry. That graphic illustrates how Ford's labor costs add up to $22 more every hour than the typical non-union U.S. auto plant. Only $3 of that difference actually comes from the hourly wage. $13 an hour can be attributed to Ford's liability for retiree pensions and health benefits. The parade of year in review stories continues. The San Francisco Chronicle looking back at how hard the Bay Area's housing market was hit. The average house price this year was 31% below where it was last year in San Francisco. The story says most cities on the West Coast posted declines of between 20 and 30% for the year. Still on the West Coast, they are getting ready for the annual Tournament of Roses parade tomorrow in Pasadena. An op-ed in the LA Times says that tradition is threatened as organizers bow to the demands of producers of the national TV coverage of the parade. The networks say the parade is too long. In recent years, there have been about 60 entries. Some channels have cut away before the parade actually ended. This year, they have slimmed the parade down to 46 entries. Stories about New Year's Eve party preparations on the front page of many newspapers. In the Daily Oklahoman, there's a photo showing workers preparing a 10.5-foot wide steel ball. It will surround a mirrored ball. Oklahoma City's opening night gala will be attended by 70,000 people who will see that ball drop at midnight. And the Washington Post notes it's not just balls dropping. In Annapolis, Maryland, they drop a sailboat at midnight. In Georgia, they will drop a giant peach in one place. They'll drop chicken nuggets in another. Every year, Lake Superior State University in Michigan comes up with a list of overused and misused words. An Associated Press story appears in papers across the country, among them the Ledger in Florida. Many of the entries this year are overused terms about the environment, such as going green and carbon offset. Maverick was overused in political discussions, as was the phrase Main Street in describing the impact of the financial crisis. Finally, from the Wall Street Journal, thank goodness somebody published this piece just in time for us. It is the Guide to Fixing Your Life in 2009. A mix of serious and lighthearted tips about how to get things in order for your year ahead. It opens with suggestions about fixing your investment portfolio, but it also includes ideas about how to make those 4-inch high heels you bought more wearable. The answer is just to cut them down. One shoemaker in St. Louis says cutting a heel down by even 1/4 of an inch can help a lot. And that's our look at what's in the headlines today. We do this every day at patspapers.com. You will find this video report, and you'll find links to all of the stories mentioned in today's report so you can read the stories for yourself.